Welcome to the Lenore Show. Here we will discuss lifestyle, beauty, celebrity gossip, and current events in our own way, my way, freestyle. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Lenore Show. Here we will discuss lifestyle, beauty, celebrity gossip, and current events in our own way, my way, freestyle. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is 2024, y'all, and all of last year, I know I was somewhat of a ghost, okay? But I'm back and better than ever, all right? And I'm so happy to see you guys are here too. Let's see. Do me a favor, everyone in the chat, if you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and also share on YouTube, share on Facebook, share on IG, share in an email, a text message. I don't give a damn. Just share the damn video, okay? Because we're going to talk about some good stuff tonight, and we got a very special guest here, all right? Let me look at something really quickly, y'all, because I don't think all of my moderators are modded up on this channel. So I got to make sure. Okay, so Tisa's not modded. Let me mod you up, Tisa. Hey, Tisa. Okay. Who else? Hey, Shell or Tisa or Kimberly. Oh, Kimberly, you're not modded either over here. Okay. I thought you were modded up over here. Okay, so Kimberly's modded. Tisa's modded. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oops, sorry. Oh, shoot. Okay, all right. Hey, Leo, welcome. So, hey, Shell Loves. Hey, Cool Gamer. Hey, Tisa. Hey, Rodney. How are you? Let's see, who else is here? Hey, Phyllis. How are you? Okay, good. So Kimberly is now modded. Tisa's got her wrench. Who else? Anybody else? So if any of you guys notice her daughter come into the chat, I don't even know if she can make it tonight. But if she's in here, somebody just send me a message in our chat, okay? In our group chat. So we can make sure that she gets modded up properly. All right. But welcome to everybody here. And we are, wait a minute. You know what? We're supposed to be live on Facebook too. So let me add that real quick. All right. So we are going live right now on Facebook as well. All right. Hey, Lemon. Lemon said, I'm here. Hey, Lemon. Hey, Fedora. Fedora, wait, are you? Yeah, Fedora. Okay. Because I can't see on StreamYard if everybody has a wrench that's supposed to have a wrench. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. All right. So we're not going to wait too much longer. Anyway, so today I asked a special guest to return. So I know you guys, about a year ago, I had a comedy. Well, we've done a couple of our comedy panels where I have some celebrity comedians come on and we talk about topics and their experiences on the road. And this young lady came for one of the panels, and I said, I got to have you back one-on-one, right? And she agreed to come tonight. And I'm so happy that she did. There's a whole lot of stuff that's been happening in the news. A lot of these people, if not all of them, she probably knows personally. And I want to learn a little bit about, what her career has looked like over the years, how she grew up. We're going to just get into the weeds of things, okay? But we're not going to keep her all night, because that way, whatever we don't get out tonight, I can ask her to come back again. Just saying. All right. So with that said, the beautiful, the funny, the extremely talented, the actress that you know of from many different things, but you probably best know her from A Different World, playing the part of Gina, as well as I remember seeing you on Martin. I remember seeing you on the Jamie Foxx Show. I have seen her do stand-up on Def Comedy Jam. She's done everything, and she's going to talk about it here. With that said, welcome again, the beautiful Miss Ajai Sanders. Hi, AJ.
Hey Val, it's so good to be back here. Thank you for having me back.
I'm so happy that you came, that you agreed to come. You look beautiful as ever.
Oh, thank you. So do you. Thank you.
You're looking very Gina-ish still.
What? Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Still, okay.
Thank you.
I see some people coming to, hey, DeQueen. Hi, Tehran. So look, let me just say this first and foremost. I fell in love with you from the moment I saw you on screen. Like, you may not have initially been a main character on A Different World, but you shine so bright, so easily. Like you really do grab people's attention. Your attitude, everything about the way you delivered that character was just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
And that show was how long ago? 30 plus years ago?
11 years ago. Yes, it was a long time. But you know what's really great about that is there's a whole new generation of young people that can appreciate the show, that are watching the show. I ran into a few people on my last cruise, and their kids recognized me before the parents did. And it was a trip. I was like, I mean, I'm talking like 10, 11-year-old young girls that was like, that's Gina. And I was like, what? Wait, what? Wow. So that's the blessing. That's the blessing. It's an honor and a privilege to have been a part of something that was so special, that has transcended over generations. So it's a gift, and it's a blessing to have added that much value to even kids today that are watching. So shout out to those parents who, go on to Netflix and all these streaming platforms and show their kids these vintage sitcoms, and show them what sitcoms used to look like.
Dude, those episodes, even to this day, I mean, they all still resonate with me. I think they were very relevant then. They're very relevant now. I think about, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about A Different World, so don't even worry about that.
It's too much.
But I will say this, and I came across a clip of it the other day, and it reminded me just how powerful the very specific episode where you were talking about, where you guys were dealing with domestic violence.
Oh yeah.
And you were the focal point of that particular episode. And I think that that episode, even to this day, is still powerful in the way in which it was delivered. Anything that stands out the most for you in your experience at A Different World?
The Tupac episode.
Oh, girl, yeah. Piccolo, when Piccolo came out. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I say that is because, I mean, listen, every episode I was blessed to do was special. It was really wonderful to be able to work with somebody like Tupac Shakur and just to see how he moved and see how he worked and to see what a gentleman he was and how funny he was too. And the thing that stuck out to me the most was how prepared he was. You know, I never saw a script in his hand. You know, he never had to go back and ask for a line. You know, he just was a absolute professional. And he was a lot of fun to hang out with. So and that particular week that we worked was just, you know, I felt almost guilty getting paid for it because we just had so much fun.
Really?
The episode about, and he was so fine too. So I was just in awe the whole time. God damn, this brother is fine. I kept thinking it was like, oh, wait, please let me have a line with him or something, you know. Oh Lord, he was so, Lord have mercy. He was just.
I believe. Look, he was fine. Well, how tall was Tupac? Just curious.
He was actually taller than you would think. Like I was surprised when he walked in to that one scene. I was like, wow, like he really, you know, girl. Yeah, he was. I think he was. I want to say like 5'11", almost 6 feet. You know, maybe.
Really?
You know, but I you know, I could be wrong because I was in awe. So, but he was taller than I thought he would be in person. But the domestic violence episode, I will say, it was stressful because I knew how important it was, you know, and so I didn't want to mess it up. And there was a lot of pressure to, you know, for me, I was a reoccurring, so they had really invested a lot in me pulling that off. So I really wanted to do a good job, and I wanted to make sure that I really conveyed the right message. And Reggie Rock Bythewood, you know, was so loving and kind and generous to allow me to play that, because they were going to bring an outside actress to play the victim, that the role and stuff. So they were like, no, we think you can do it. And I was like, really? Okay. And I was excited because as a comedian, you know, we know tragedy probably better than a lot of dramatic actors, because that's all comedy is transferring comedy into, or should I say,
taking a dark moment.
Yeah, making a dark moment light and just trying to make the best out of a bad situation. So so that was my experience with that.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna come back to those days and your time at A Different World, but let's go all the way back. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Dallas, Texas originally, and I moved out to LA right out of high school in 1985. And I went out there to get into show business, but more so than that, I went out there originally I wanted to go to UCLA to go to college, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But I lived with my father and my stepmother and my sister and my brother. And so we lived right down the street from UCLA, and that was my dream, I thought. And then through certain, you know, we don't have enough time to talk about why I moved out of the house, but I ended up moving out of the house and moving into the central parts of LA with a friend of mine named Angela Santiago and her family. And then I moved in with another friend of mine, Corinne, who ended up taking me to the Comedy Act Theater, and that's how I found my career.
Shut up.
So yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you.
So basically, the Comedy Act Theater was my college. Those were my college days. I spent my days in the comedy club, you know, learning how to be a comedian.
So, well, wait a minute. When you decided to go, now I understand your dad lived in LA, but what were you thinking you were going to study in college? Had you gone?
I thought I wanted to be a professional dancer. That was my goal. I wanted to, you know, back in the day when they had the videos and, you know, Janet Jackson was hot, and I wanted to be like I wanted to wanted to dance, and so I studied class. I was a dance major when I went to I was an arts major at Santa Monica College. That was the college that I ended up going to. And so that's how I met my friends. I met, Angela Santiago there, and I met another young lady by the name of Debbie White, and we used to always dance and do these outside performances together. And so that's what I thought I wanted to do until I started going to the Comedy Act Theater all the time. And then one night, Michael Williams, who ran the Comedy Act Theater, asked me to introduce Robin Harris, and that was the moment that set my career in a different direction.
Hold on. So you were asked to, oh wait, I think you shared this when you were on last time. So Robin Harris was one of your mentors.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was just a random thing where we would always go in, Corinne and I would always go into the Comedy Act Theater, and we saw everybody, Sinbad, Arsenio, Marsha Warfield, Damon Wayne, like everybody, every big name comedian, Ronaldo Ray, they all rolled through there, and then the young bucks started coming in, like Martin Lawrence and Tommy Davidson and those guys. And one night, I guess he was ready to start the show, and the guy who was supposed to introduce Robin didn't show up, Louis Dix, and he didn't show up, and or he was late, and Michael said, "Hey, can you do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm 19 at the time, so I'm full of piss and vinegar. I don't realize how hard this is. I don't even know why he's asking me, and I'm like, "Sure." And I go up and I realize how difficult it is, and I realize I don't know what it is about when you step behind the mic, but it's a whole nother world back there, And so I learned that very quickly. But so he kept asking me to do it, and I kept saying, "Why is he asking me to do this? I'm not a comedian. I'm a dancer. Why is he?" So one night, Robin pulled me to the side, and he goes, "Look," because people were like, "Why is she going up?" The audience is wanting the same thing. Why do you keep letting her go up? She's not funny. And so Robin finally pulled me to the side. He was like, "Listen, if you're gonna introduce me, you got to have something to say." I was like, "Well, what do I say?" He was like, "You got to get you some material. You got good stage presence, but you got to get you some material." And I was like, "Okay, well, how do I?" So he showed me how, and kind of, guided me and kind of schooled me. So then I had 5 minutes, and then that turned into 10, that turned into 15. Then he started complaining that I was taking too long on stage to bring him up. And so one night he pulled me to the side. He goes, "Listen, I don't want you bringing me up anymore." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I think you're ready."
Oh.
He goes, "I think you're ready. So tonight I'm going to bring you up." And that's how I became an actual comedian.
That's amazing.
But I have to tell you, I studied everybody. When he told me to start writing material, I watched women like Myra J. And Myra J. would just rip the house up. Stacey McLean. I would watch, all these masters, Paul Mooney, Ronaldo Ray. I paid attention and I just jotted stuff down. I was literally a student of the game for that time, because I had nothing but masters showing me what it looked like. So I was very blessed, I never had to go to open mic nights and things like that because that was my training ground.
That's amazing.
So I was one of the first. I was one of the first young female comedians to really step onto the scene and really break through. I was one of the first. Def Comedy Jam was the thing that broke me through.
I remember, now that you mention it, on Def Comedy Jam, you came out dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was my way of trying to really shake the nerves, because I still get there. I'm nervous right now. Like I get nervous when I have to, because I'm normally a shy person. I'm very quiet. I don't really, in my real life, I don't, I'm a quiet, pretty demure person. And so I really so nervous. And I was like, man, this is New York. You better come with it. So that was my way of just like trying to shake the nerves off.
Well, let me say,
somebody told me, a very established comedian told me, he was like, "Stop dancing. Don't do that again." Eddie Murphy. He was like, "Don't dance. Don't
very
dance."
established. Yeah.
And I was like, "But Eddie, I I'm so nervous all the time." He was like, "You know what? Don't stop dancing. Stop dancing." That just I think the reason he told me that was because he didn't want it to come off coonish. You know what I mean? Like he was like, don't, because I remember him, the way his face, like he was like, just don't do that. And I was like, no, Eddie, it's not. Now everybody dance before they start going up. You know what I mean? Every time you see somebody going on stage, they, you know, they do a little something. So I'm like, well, you know, there it is. You know, and so anyway, Ricky Harris used to do a little dance before he would go up.
Ricky
So that was,
Harris.
yeah, so he was another one of my teachers. So you know, I was just like, I'm gonna keep dancing. This is my thing. That's what I'm gonna do. So now when you see Tiffany Haddish, that's all she doing is I'm like, well, damn, okay, well, you're welcome.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that at 19, for you to have never really, so well, let's go back. Were you watching a lot of comedy coming up?
Just on late night talk shows, but it was never on my radar to do it. I wasn't like funny. My father was funny, is funny. You know, my great grandmother was funny, but I really never saw me. I was never like the class clown or anything like that. I was just very sarcastic, you know, just kind of a smart ass. And that was just the angle that I took, but it was never on my radar to actually be a comedian. I had never seen live comedy before. My friend took me down to the Comedy Act Theater. That was the first time I'd ever seen live comedians before, and I was fascinated. Like, wow, what is this? This is what y'all do this all the time? So yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch.
See, and the reason why I bring this up or even want to highlight this is because I think about myself. I grew up in a house where my parents watched a lot of boxing and a lot of comedy. So I grew up listening, sneaking to hear Richard Pryor, all of that.
Listen, so that was I was going to say that was the only other connection to comedy that I had was when my mother would have these listening parties. She would have Richard Pryor listening parties. And so they would listen to that. So I would sneak downstairs and sit, you know, in the like little landing way, just so she didn't know that I was listening. But I would listen to what they were laughing at. And then what I would do is bring my friends over after school and go upstairs and play it on my record player. But I had to make sure I put it right back in the same spot.
Right.
So my mom wouldn't know that I had taken it out, but that was the way. So That Nigga's Crazy, Was It Something I Said? Those two albums for me were everything. And that's how I made friends. That's how I brought, you know, that's how I was able, that's what we did after school, you know, just listen to Richard Pryor. So, but again, I didn't really think that I would be somebody that would ever do that. I was just fascinated by it.
But were you ever dancing in front of audiences at least? Like, I'm wondering, like, where did you get this confidence and this this gumption, if you will, to be able to even try it that first time at 19?
I didn't know any better.
Stop.
I didn't know that. No, I performed. Like I knew I was a performer.
Okay, and that's what I wanted.
Up until that point. Yeah, you know, ever since I was like 5 years old, I was performing in front of people. I was singing and dancing and stuff, you know, all my life. And I was in talent shows. My cousins would take me to talent shows and stuff all the time, and I would win. Except for this one time when I did a Tina Turner song, I came in second. My mom was real pissed because I think she wanted me to win that $100. I only won like a tape recorder or something crazy. Anyway, so yeah, I think that was. You know, that was in me. The performer was in me since I was very young. But okay, the champagne thing. But
champagne? What is this question? I don't even understand.
I know what they're asking. So the thing, so anyway, just to finish that, I did comedy was just not on the radar. That's all it was. But everything else, singing, dancing, and, you know, performing, that was, you know, doing characters and acting and doing play. Like I did that all my life, you know, but comedy was never. So I just looked at comedy like just doing another character. Like, let me just, you know, so I would mimic these other guys that did female character impersonations on stage. And I would sort of like adopt that and to become this sassy personality on stage. Like, you know, Martin did this one, I think he was doing Shanae or something at the time. And so the way he would do her, I was like, okay, I'm a girl, so maybe I can be sassy like that. And so that's kind of the way I adopted my stage persona. So Champagne was a video that I did with Chris Rock. When I went on tour with him, I did 2 tours with Chris Rock, and one of them was Bring the Pain. And this was when he was getting ready. Yeah, so I was on tour with him, 2 tours with him, and so at the end of his tour, he asked me to, he said he was doing a comedy video that was kind of making fun of like the 90s videos, like the Biggie Smalls and the Puff Daddy videos when those videos were hot at the time. I think I want to say it was like mid 90s, 95, 94, 95. Anyway, so there was a video that I guess he created called I Love Champagne. And he asked me to play the Little Kim character, and he played the Puff Daddy character. So you can catch it on YouTube. All you got to do is just hit Champagne, Chris Rock, and you'll see me, pretending like I'm Little Kim from back in the day. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Hilarious. Okay, so how did we get from starting your stand-up career and getting to maybe your first TV role? Was A Different World the first TV role?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I know you said you wanted to be a dancer. At this time, was Debbie Allen already the director of the show at that time?
Which, by the way, tripped me out because when I was doing it, so every Thursday night, I never saw A Different World. I never watched it because I was always at the club by 8:30. And so that was the time that Different World came on. So people would always go, you should be on this show. Have you seen this show? And I'm like, I don't know. People keep asking me. I've never seen it. So A Different World audition happened around December, around the Christmas holidays, right before around 1990. And then at the same time, Def Comedy Jam was auditioning comedians to do their first installment, hosted by Martin Lawrence. So I auditioned for A Different World. I booked it. I did the first episode, but it didn't air until around January of 91-ish, something like that. And it was around the same time I did a Def Comedy Jam. So when Martin introduces me as, hey, since she plays Gina from A Different World, I had just finished taping A Different World came before Def Comedy Jam, but I was a comedian before I did A Different World. So it all kind of like collided at the same time.
That was the perfect sort of launch then.
The perfect storm. Absolutely. Because right after I did Def Comedy Jam, I just started going on the road for the next freaking, I don't even know, 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, Def Comedy Jam, that in and of itself, that experience, look, me as an audience member watching and couldn't wait for each weekend for that to air. That was the shortest 30 minutes of my life. It never was long enough. Everybody was brilliant that came on there. To have Martin Lawrence as the host. Yeah. And all of you were phenomenal. Not just a couple of you. All of you were phenomenal. And to see so much Black talent. Yeah. Phenomenal Black talent to that. Yeah. To that magnitude was amazing. Bernie Mac, Steve, Cedric, just everybody, Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, everybody.
Yeah, we all listen. I mean, we came like my generation of comedians. We had a lot to look up to. We had a lot of masterful comedians to learn from. So, and plus around that time, that's when the Black comedy explosion had hit, like Robert Townsend and Partners in Crime. You know what I mean? Like we had so many great examples to look up to. So, if we weren't learning from them, then you just don't have it. You know what I mean? If you couldn't break through just by learning from those guys, I mean, there was no sense in you need to go do something else.
Child, hamburger. I mean, I could
Simply
remember.
Marvelous. Simply Marvelous was amazing. Angela Means.
Adele Givens.
Laura.
Laura.
Oh, come on now. When that wig came off, baby, she set the house on fire with that. So I just am so grateful and so blessed that I was born at the right time. And I said yes to Michael Williams, because without having said yes, I would have missed it.
Yes. Now, I'll just tell you this. I moved to Atlanta in 1993. And so I spent a lot of time over at Uptown Comedy Corner just sitting in the audience, honey, because I would never grab a mic.
Now, did you ever go to the Comedy Act Theater
And the
down there?
Comedy Act Theater. I went to both. Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
because
But the
myself
Comedy Act
and
closed,
yeah,
I want to say a little sooner than Uptown ended up closing.
yes, Comedy Act Theater was the first thing down there, and I remember me and Joe Torre, we launched
Yes.
the opening. We opened the club up. Yep, I was the first one to step
Okay.
on that stage. Yep,
Wow.
and Angela Means was a waitress.
Who? What? Angela Means?
She was a waitress, but
Shut up.
she wanted to do stand-up comedy. So when she saw me, she was inspired, and when I saw her, I was like, "Girl, you better come to LA because we gonna break some doors down." That's exactly what I told her. I was like, "You are beautiful and you're funny. Let's go." And
Bye,
so,
Felicia.
yes, yes. Now she's a comedy. She's an icon.
She is.
So
She's a comedy icon and
it
a
gives me
vegan
chills.
chef, and
Yeah, it gives me chills to just see, just to remember, just looking back on how it all started, how young we were, all so
yes,
young and so
yes.
impressionable, but we were hungry, man. We was like, let's go.
Wow. Okay. So you get to a different world, and now you're amongst a whole lot of other phenomenal talent, to
Mhm.
include a Debbie Allen at the helm, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a
Yes.
Cosby Show.
Yeah.
It's you got Sinbad. Sinbad was on the show when you were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
there's you and Jada Pinkett are just coming up at that time, or at least to us in
Well,
our minds, we're
yeah,
getting to.
I came in on season 4. She came in, I think, on season 5.
Oh, okay.
And
Wasn't
yeah. And yeah, I was, listen, just being in Debbie Allen's presence was enough for me. But then she brought in all these amazing, legendary stars like Diane Carroll, Josephine Permise, Roscoe Lee Brown,
that Patty?
Robert Guillaume, and Lena Horne.
Lena Horne. Yes. Oh
I
my
went,
God,
honey, listen, Billy D. Williams.
honey.
Where? So, I mean, again, I was just, I just felt like I mean, what? Like I couldn't believe that I was like really doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very blessed, very blessed.
Okay, so let's talk about a few things. So some of these people are obviously now well, okay, wait. I'm all over the place, honey. There's so many things I want to ask you, and I
What you
have a
want to?
list right here, but
All
I
right.
just want this to flow.
Okay.
But we brought up Jada and everything.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering, were you all, the cast that is, were you all like really good friends, or was it work? I'm
No.
not friends with everybody I work with. I'm friendly,
Right.
but you go to work, you do your job, you're kind to each other, and you go home, right?
Right.
So talk to me. Who were you all?
When Jada first came on, I was very bitter and very jealous because I really thought, so I had been an under fiver, went to a reoccurring, and I was hoping to become a regular at season 5 because that was kind of the buzz for a minute. Oh, you're coming back, and now I was getting along with all the cast members, and the cast members liked me and stuff, and so it was kind of like a thing that an assumption that I had made. And so when Debbie met Jada, I can't tell their story, so I don't know the timeline or of the events that happened. But all I remember was hearing that she brought her on automatically as a regular, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this? What the fuck is what I'm in my head?" I was
Right.
like, "What the fuck is this? Wait just a minute." But the fact that I was still on, he was like, "Well, we're gonna make her your roommate." And I was like, "Well, at least I still got a job, so whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So, it was what it was. And then so then we, I just, it was one of those things where I was like, well, oh well, here she is, so let's play.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really didn't bond until the abuse episode.
Mm. Okay.
And it was one of those, we work together, we do scenes together, and then when the light goes off, it's like, psh, all right, see you, that type of thing. So it wasn't really anything,
Mm-hmm.
no kind of friendship or anything like that. And then when we did that scene together where she catches me in Hyde Hall and she
Mm-hmm.
sees my black eye, so that scene kind of brought a mutual respect between both of us. She was looking at me like, well, okay. I mean, I didn't know you. I mean, all right, and I was like, okay, good. She knows that I'm a legit actress. Because a lot of times when comedians do acting work, people don't really show us the respect that we deserve. You know what I mean? They don't think that we're really serious artists. They just think that we're just shit talkers and we're just clowns. It's like,
Mm.
no, this is an art for us as well. And so I think that once she saw that other side of my skill set, she was able to sort of like, I'd earned her respect pretty much. And then we were pretty civil and we got along, good enough, but it
Mhm.
wasn't, um, I mean, I wasn't somebody that she really wanted to like, quote unquote, be besties with, you know what I mean? And vice versa. I didn't really see her that way either.
Okay.
But it was we had a respect for each other's work, and then we started to, be friendly and become better acquainted a little bit along the way, and towards the end we were fine with each other. And so then we also, when we did the Tupac episode, we all kind of had fun that week, so we got along. We got along, but I don't think that I was ever somebody she wanted to like be friends with. And I
Mhm.
was okay with that.
Well, let me say this. It seems it's interesting that you said that she was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know you could act." But you didn't know, did we know her from anything prior to her coming there? I mean,
Well,
I know she
she
went to
had
like a performing arts background in school, right?
I,
Like high
so
school.
all I can really say is I wasn't familiar with
Okay.
her work beforehand. So I guess other people were, but I wasn't. She was
Okay.
never on the radar, and I think she had just come in from the East Coast. So I only was familiar with the West Coast actresses, that I would see on auditions all the time, but I was never familiar with her work before that.
Okay. Now, we're connected on social media, and you
Yeah.
posted something not too long ago and said, I'm writing a book. And yes, Jada and Will be in there. What's gonna be in
Yeah.
there, girl? What's gonna be in there?
I mean, I'm gonna probably be a little bit more descriptive as to like my journey in terms of like how I met her and and how I
Okay.
felt and what went on and how it went down and and how um like I just feel like my friendships were different when Jada Pinkett came around. My friendships with my friends at the time and you know
Mm,
um I so I'll be talking a lot about that. How a lot of dynamics change when she brought her energy into the group. So I'll have a lot to talk about that. I'll have lot to talk about the scene, moments on a different world. Um, and but we've never had any real bad blood between us, really. You know what I mean? It was just like an energy thing.
gotcha.
Like I could tell she didn't like me, and she could tell that I was a little bit distant with her because of the jealousy that so let me just say I'm 21 years old. I'm 21,
Right.
22. I'm young. This is all new to me, and
Yeah.
I'm super competitive, because I'm like I'm working hard here, so why is it not about my talent? So
Mm.
I'm feeling some type of way when somebody just comes up on the scene like, hey, I'm here and I'm a regular. It's like, bitch, what? You know what I mean? So that's how I felt. I'm just keeping it 100. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
then I have to readjust and go, okay, I gotta just, play ball because this is what it is. So I can't change it. I can't influence it. I'm grateful I still am a part of the cast. So let me just do my best. And so it worked out. I think we had good energy on set. I think our characters played really well together, and
Yep.
I'm grateful for those moments. I mean, I don't have any bad thing to say about her when it comes to that because I think we both did the best that we could with what we were given at the
Mm-hmm.
time. I think I was just sort of like at a crossroads in my career, like, well, what do I do next? And I could just see, how she kind of had stuff laid out. You know what I mean? She was just kind of like on this path of like, then she was doing movies. I'm like, shit, I want to do movies too. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to do, so it was one of those things. And I just had to get my head in the right perspective, in the right space.
I think it's admirable the fact that you can be honest and say, look, I was jealous. I didn't like this. I felt away. That's honest.
But at the same time, I can't blame her for taking the opportunity. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no fault to her at all. I mean, if I were in that position, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have just taken everything. Debbie Allen offered me something. Absolutely. What? That's Debbie Allen, the great Debbie Allen, so of course I'm going to take it, as it comes. So, I was just, like I say, I was in my early 20s and I was just kind of pissing in, banging on my high chair, just like any young artist would, young competitive artist would do. And so again, I had to, as I look back, I mean, I'm a grown ass woman now, so I can look back on those times and go, you know what? That's exactly how I felt. And I'm okay with that. And, let the chips fall where they may, but that's exactly how I felt. I was like, why not me? You know what I mean? And so it just was what it was.
So you said you came on season 4, was that right?
Yeah, my first episode was number 415.
So, and how many seasons did it go? 8? Full 8?
No, it went 6.
Oh, it only went 6? 6? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So with that said, did you have anybody on the cast that were your close friends or people that you even maintain relationships with to this day?
I talk to Daryl Bell every now and then, especially when, I speak out to him. I reach out to him sometimes when I'm, want to know what's going on with Sinbad, to make sure, just to relay messages. I don't have I thought I had Sinbad's number, but I don't think I do. So I just wanted to check. I always check in with him. He'll check in with me. Hey, how you doing? Hope all is well type thing. But Charnel Brown,
yes,
a lovely, lovely, lovely woman. She was very nice to me on set, and we still, remain very cordial and very friendly with each other, even though we're both very busy. We don't talk all the time. But when we do get a chance to talk, it's always very respectful and loving and very supportive of each other.
Were there people that were not so supportive and not so nice in particular?
Yeah.
Want to say who?
I mean, again, let me frame this by saying, I understand that we were all very young. At the time. I would have, and I'll put it this way, I would have liked it if Jasmine would have been a little bit more friendly. I would have liked it if she would have been a little bit more nice and kinder. Kadeem was just a little bit aloof, but he was nice. He was nice enough. You know what I mean? Okay. He wasn't mean. He wasn't a mean person. Right. He was just kind of to himself, whatever. Okay. Michael Ralph was wonderful. Michael Ralph is Shirley Ralph's brother, who did a lot of stand-in work. He played a Spencer. He was just a lovely, lovely man. Just
Shirley Ralph's brother was on the show?
Yeah, he played Spencer. He played the Jamaican guy that fell in love with Kim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was just a cool brother. Just cool as a fan. Tyrone Batista, who did stand-in work, he was really fun to work with. We became really cool friends. And there's somebody else that I wanted to mention, but the name it escapes me now. A lot of the behind-the-scenes people were very cool, very, very loving, and very kind. And nice. Lou Myers was just the wise, the wise old uncle that always had something cool to say. So was Glenn Turman. Jennifer Lewis just kept me in stitches all the time. Jennifer Lewis was amazing. So, and a lot of the guest stars that came on were really cool. So, yeah, I mean, it was the experience that taught me how to just manage myself when people are great and when people are not so great, So again, it was my training ground.
Now I got two more different world questions, and then I'm gone with it. Okay?
Oh, girl. Okay.
The first one was gonna be, now I was sort of under the impression that Debbie showed some favoritism, per se, towards Jasmine and Jada.
Okay.
Would that be
What gave you that impression?
somebody, not you, obviously, but I'm asking you. Somebody told me that. Okay, you'd be surprised at people I know, AJ. But somebody has said that. Is that true? From your perspective, as a 19, 21-year-old young lady? Okay, got it.
All I can say is I wasn't a favorite. I will tell you that. I was not a member of the Debbie Allen Club. I was a member of her fan club. I have a lot of respect for Debbie, and I respect her work ethic, and that she taught me a lot just by me watching her, and I love her professionalism. I think that might be because Jasmine and she had a they have a long history of working together, and I think that gave the impression of them having some type of a closer connection. So again, it's their story to tell. I don't really know.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Just from Jada coming in the way she did, and the way I was, I was already kind of like jealous and miffed at the fact that she got all this love, and they, you know what I mean, like right away. So so that's what I thought. I was like, oh, she's Debbie's favorite. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad to still be here. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I looked at it. So that might be true, but I really don't have like solid evidence of that.
Gotcha. Okay. And this is the last question, but it ties into Jada and it ties into Tupac. So when Tupac was there that week, did you notice like you could tell that they had a history, they had a friendship?
I was so busy trying to get some from him myself, I didn't even pay attention to none of that. I'm gonna keep it 100. I was so busy trying to wink, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was so busy. I was just like, "Wow." And I even went to his dressing room and smoked weed with him, and he was such a gentleman. Yes, I mean, I was just, one of the boys. I was trying to get in where I fit in, So I don't. All I knew was that they were friends from back home. You know what I mean? So I didn't see anything that made me curious about anything, and I didn't see anything to the fact that, because I even went up to her, I was like, "Girl, I want to hook me up," you know what I mean? And so so that's that's kind of how I didn't see any type of chemistry like that, with them two. I just thought that was one of her best friends, and he was on the show. We just had a good time, but I could have been wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And maybe that's why I didn't. Maybe she was blocking. I think she cock blocked. But I think, saying, "Girl, hook me," because we was on terms good enough for me to go, "Hey, hook us." But this is what I will say. To be fair, one day I told her that I was going to be at the Comedy Store that night. So she was like, "Oh, for real?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Come down and see me, if you want or whatever." And I had told her about this joke I did about Tupac. So I go up to the Comedy Store. I'm in the original room at the Comedy Store that night. And so I had a good set. And I just did this joke about, how fine Tupac was, because I love giving my people props when I'm on stage. And so I did this joke, and I get off stage. And so then I hear somebody go, "AJ." And so it's Jada, and she's like telling me to come over. And I was like, "Oh my God, you showed up. This is great." And I was like, "Hey girl," or whatever. So I scoot in the seat, to her seat or whatever. And so then she leans back, and so she goes, "This is Tupac." I was like,
"Oh, shut up!" Wait a minute. That was before he came onto the show then.
Yeah.
That was before.
Before.
Girl.
So I was like, hi, how are you? I was like, I hope you like my joke. He was like, that shit was funny. That shit was funny. I was like, thank you. Oh my God. So when he came onto the show, it was like meeting an old friend, and we were, you know what I mean? So that was
Yeah.
when he came onto the show, it wasn't my first time meeting him, but we had
Gotcha.
all just kind of, man, listen, when you watch that episode, that was true. That was nothing compared to when the cameras were off and how much fun we all had. I mean, that was probably the best time I ever had, like filming any type of show whatsoever. We had a great time.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
had a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's what I will say. That was one of the best things Jada had ever done for me. And then we ended up hanging out. Wait, and then I think, that we had Thanksgiving together that year or something. It was bizarre. We was at Tisha Campbell's house, and we had dinner at her house for Thanksgiving, and we was me, her, Tupac, Kadeem. It was crazy.
That's crazy. Wait a minute, because
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned Tisha Campbell because she made an appearance on A Different World too, right? She was a guest. I forgot the episode now, but I remember her coming on.
When she played the AIDS girl, Josie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We were
so
good
you
friends with that.
all at that point, by that time, Tisha had done movies and
Oh yeah.
everything by that time.
Yeah.
And was she married? When you
Uh
guys had dinner at her house, was it?
they
Yeah,
weren't
was
married
she?
yet. They weren't
But
married
they were
yet.
together.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So who was
Yeah.
all at this Thanksgiving dinner?
So I think that was it. I think it was me, her, Tupac, Jada, and Kadeem, Dwayne, and then I think that was it. Oh, and I think maybe a couple of Jada's
Tashina
friends.
Arnold? No.
Tashina hadn't come to town yet.
Okay.
I think Tashina was still in New York, but I think she was on her way. Tashina didn't come to town until she booked Pam.
Okay.
I think she
Okay.
was back and forth, but I think she was working a lot in New York. And I
Okay.
think when she booked Pam, I think that's what moved her out. But
Amazing.
Tashina is still one of the coolest people I've ever met.
I
She's
believe
just
that.
still one of the, she's just, yeah, she's down like 4 flat tires, man. Tashina just made me laugh all the time for no reason. She's a trip. She's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Nice. You know what? You just named everybody that you named, you all have a name in this business. How amazing is that? Because all the
Yeah.
people I had Thanksgiving with probably in 1991, they ain't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing a damn thing. But all of y'all got a name in this business. How
Yeah,
about
we was.
that?
I mean, I think I was compared to all of them. I was kind of a rookie. I was the rookie part. In comparison to all of them, because I think Pac was kind of with the digital underground at the time.
Oh,
So
right.
everybody was kind of like getting their feet in the game, and I was literally just putting my toe in. You know what I mean? I was the upstart comedian who was still finding her way. So I was still kind of like the baby of the group when it came to having credits. But yeah, we was all doing something.
Girl. Okay, so what was the next gig after A Different World?
I was on the road a lot, and
Okay.
let's see, what else did I do? It's all a blur. I smoked a lot of weed back then, so you got to forgive me because I can't remember timelines. So you got to
Okay,
forgive me.
gotcha.
I mean, I was just guest starring on a lot of stuff. Martin,
Yep,
um,
I remember
and
that.
Fresh Prince. I did a few episodes on that, and Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I played Mark's girlfriend. I did the
Mhm.
Wayans brothers in like '97. I played Marlon's girlfriend, and I was like the goat. What people don't understand is like I was kind of like the it girl at the time. Like I was the only like funny, attractive female that was acting.
Okay.
So anytime they wanted like somebody funny, but that could play someone's girlfriend, they would call me.
Mhm. Okay.
And so I did. Thank God. I mean, I did all those every sitcom black. I did every black successful sitcom except for Living Single. Never did Living Single.
Oh
Never
wow.
did never did In the House.
Oh yeah, LL.
And the reason I didn't do In the House was I did an audition where I didn't know that I was going to audition with LL Cool J, so I was a little thrown off. So I walked in, I got on booty shorts and a halter, and I'm trying to play his sexy neighbor or whatever. And well, I'm thinking I'm just going to go read with the casting director, and he stands up and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Todd." I was like, And
Girl.
instantly I started sweating. Like my underarms started I could feel my underarm, like the dripping. And I was just like, hi, how are you? And I was like, yeah, I'm not getting this role because I just, what are you, I just knew I was not gonna get that. So, it's what it is. You know what I mean? I accepted that wholeheartedly. But
Now let me say
so
this. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You were going to finish
no, go
something.
ahead. No, so I'm just saying that a lot of times, so people don't understand what people don't know is that from Def Comedy Jam all the way to the late '90s, I worked a whole lot, and after a while, I just got disenchanted, and a lot of rejection happens in between all those gigs, and a lot of downtime happened, and and then and during that time there was a lot of auditions going on. I auditioned for Jerry Maguire. I was hoping to become but Regina got that, and I auditioned for
Oh,
Love
yeah.
Jones. Nia got that. I auditioned for a lot of, oh gosh, a couple of Spike Lee things that I don't remember what, but just there was a lot of auditioning going on around that time,
Mhm.
and everybody was booking everything. I auditioned for Booty Call, didn't get that. I auditioned for Baps, didn't get that. So there was a lot of rejection going on, in between a lot of
Mhm.
those sitcoms. And so then I grew really, really, really tired of people
Mhm.
saying no. And um all the way from freaking House Party all the way down. I wanted to do movies, especially after doing a sitcom. I wanted to do movies, and I didn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't land anything. And I was so obsessed with working, that the more obsessive I became, the less opportunities I had, and I was still on the road, still, whatever. And so I just start, just sitting at home, drinking, getting pissed off, drinking. Then I would somehow have a creative moment and go, oh, I'll create my own variety show. So I created a variety show called That Time of the Month, because for a while there, comedy clubs wouldn't let a lot of women go on stage. So I just said, well, you know what? If you can't join them, beat them. So I got a deal with the Comedy Store, did my once a month comedy show called That Time of the Month. And it was with 4 or 5 female comics. We'd have one guy on there, and then we'd have like a musical act or a dance routine or whatever. And it was very, very, very successful. And then into business with some really shady promoters who sponsored me with Pepsi, and then we went on tour, and then that all fell apart, and then I just got disenchanted all over again. And then all of a sudden Guy Tori snuck in and started doing Fat Tuesday. Not snuck in, I'm not gonna say snuck in, I'm just gonna say he took an opportunity that was there, and Fat Tuesday was born. And because it was up in the belly room at first, and then it came down to the main room, and then it just blew up. And now, as you know, it's a historical,
Mhm.
monumental institution now of comedy. And so, stuff just happens. So I'm kind of like that door opener. I'm kind of like the path maker, you know what I mean, to a lot of other people that have come in after me. And I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? I'm really grateful to be a part of Black comedy history in whatever way that it came about.
Yeah. Now, I ran across something a few months ago where I guess you had mentioned or it come out in another interview somewhere that the part of Garcelle Bouveau on the Jamie Foxx show, that fancy, was really designed for you, that you
True.
and Jamie together talked about it, and that it was, did he create the role or did the two of you create the role together and it was supposed to be for you, but then it didn't happen?
It was supposed to be for me. He and Bentley Evans created it.
Okay.
And Warner Brothers already had a deal in place for Garcelle, and they needed to place her somewhere.
Okay.
And I didn't. So that was another time that I got a chance to learn how the business worked. I didn't know that nobody knew. I don't know if they knew or not. My managers, I didn't know if they knew or not, but um, it was really pretty much supposed to be a done deal. And then they had me audition. I was like, this is odd for me to audition for my own role, but okay, I'll play
Mm-hmm.
along. And so me and every other Black actress was auditioning for that thing. And so I kept coming back, and they kept saying, well, we want her to be more like Claire Huxtable. So, I jumped through that hoop. Well, we don't think that she is sexy enough. Okay, so I jumped through that hoop. And then, okay, well, we don't really see the chemistry between her and Jamie. That's when I knew I knew something was up. Because I was like, there's no way you can't see chemistry between me and Jamie. That's my homeboy. We both from Texas. We're like best friends at the time. We were close. I helped him create Wanda. So I'm like, how is it that you don't see any chemistry between us? So I was like, okay, something is up. So I got the call, and they told me, they said, we don't know how to tell you this, but they didn't choose you. And I was like, how is that possible? This role was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I got like congratulatory, like fruit baskets from everybody. My agents were excited. Everybody was picking out my Mercedes, and I was, you know what I mean? It was as far as we were concerned, it was a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how it always goes sometimes. And so I had to accept that chunk of rejection. And I think that is the thing that really sent me to a level of depression that I thought, you know what, I got to do something different, because I was so obsessed with working. And then the more obsessed I became, like I say, the less I worked. And I was like, you know what, I got to do something. So, and then, I just started, drinking all the time and getting high. And I just said, fuck it, this is bullshit. What's the point? I just got disenchanted from it all, and then I was like, well, this isn't the answer either. So I need to go do something else. And then I realized, I need to go live my life. When I look back and I think I started this thing at 19, now I'm in my 30s. Well, I'm about to be 30. And I want to go. I don't even know what my favorite color is. I don't know myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, I left LA and I left Hollywood in 1999. And
really?
yeah, I sobered up, and I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to see, I realized I had never really had a real relationship before, and I wanted to date. I wanted to go on dates. I wanted to do the normal shit, that I didn't get a chance to do. So I moved out to OC, to Laguna Beach, man, and started living this bohemian life. And then I realized I wanted nothing to do with Hollywood. I was so happy being away from it all, just meeting new friends and being on the beach all the time. And I was
Nice.
loving it. And then something happened around 2004, 2005, where something inside of me was like still kind of unsettled. And I started writing again. And so then Def Comedy Jam came back around in 2007. And I wanted to do it, but they rejected me again. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. That's why I don't want to fuck with y'all no more. That's, that was my opinion. That was my disposition. But then I did go to the show, and I did see some people that I liked. I watched. That was the time I had first met Cat Williams. That was the first time I had seen my friend Vince Morris, and got a chance to meet some people. Yeah. And I got a chance to hang out with DL again. And he was like, hey, come open up for me in Arizona tomorrow or this weekend. And so I did, blew up the spot. And that's when I thought I really kind of wanted to do stand-up again. And he was like, I'm gonna call you. I want you to be my opening act again. So I'll call you. That call never came. So I was like, okay, back to my life, whatever, all good, And so that's the blessing, is having a real life and not being dependent on somebody else to call you, not waiting for the phone to ring, not waiting for that to be, my source of income, you know what I mean? Because I was already living life and doing well. So then I just started just doing things in Orange County out here, putting shows together, producing shows, getting on stage here and there, just to kind of settle that creative bug that was still biting at me, you know what I mean? And so I was fine. I was absolutely fine.
Let me ask you a quick question about the Jamie Foxx situation. After that happened, or did not happen for you in the way that you anticipated, you eventually did come on as a guest.
I did.
How do you adjust your mindset to be able to walk onto a set where I'm supposed to be you, Garcelle, but okay, it's not her fault. it's her thing. But how do you do that? I mean, I understand you're an actor and your job is to perform and to play the part, but surely the human part of you felt something about that.
It was a very hard week. It was a very difficult week. I will say that.
Okay.
It was very difficult. However, you're right. I did know that it wasn't Garcelle's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I do, and she was so nice. That's what made it even worse. I was like, God damn it, why can't you be a bitch? And I can just, I can blame you for something,
Right.
but no, she was very kind, very nice, very generous. And and we worked well together. And yeah, it was a very difficult week though. I smoked a lot of cigarettes that week. I did.
Okay.
Smoked a lot of cigarettes. Yes. It was very,
Right.
very
Well,
stressful.
with that said, you talked a lot about rejection happening. Did you ever feel pressure to, just go lay on the casting couch somewhere and just make this thing happen for you?
A lot of that came early on. A lot of that stuff came. I was approached like that early on, way before A Different World. I had to navigate myself. I had to navigate my way through a lot of those traps, even with comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The ones that want you to open up for them. I'm not talking about anybody you've mentioned. I'm just saying in general.
No,
People
not
like
necessarily.
that.
I mean, no, not necessarily them, but just in general, like I'm not going to say that I was an angel, because I was not. Okay. And I made choices that I made because of what I wanted. But there were other times where, people, wanted to put me in certain positions that I, didn't want to be in. And I think I paid the price for that. I think there was a situation. There was a situation. There was an opportunity that was presented to me when I did Def Comedy Jam, and then I was asked to do something, and I said no, and that opportunity went to somebody else. And I'll go into detail about that in the book, but that's pretty much what happened. So that's kind of the way it kind of went. But don't get me wrong, like I had my share of, relations with people that I wanted to have like I dated, a couple of comics, don't get me wrong. It wasn't that I was a prude, because I was not, but there were also times where, people asked me to do certain things and I was like, no, thanks. Or they would invite me to certain things. Let me tell you what happened. One time somebody invited me to go to Bobby Brown's party. It was an after party at the Bellage Hotel. And it was somebody had given me the invitation, and so they gave me the directions and told me what room to go to. And I got all dressed up in my cute little black tight dress, and I go knock on the door of this beautiful suite, and I knock on the door, and somebody answers, and I said, "Hi, I have an invitation to come to the party." And whoever this guy was, I never knew his name. But whoever he was, he looked me up and down and he said, "Baby girl, go home." Nah, go home. And I was like, "But they said, what?" He said, "Go home." And he closed the door in my face.
He saved you.
I didn't know at the time, because at that time I was pissed. I was offended. Once again, I'm like, what? And I cried on the way home. Years later, I knew that was God protecting me. So there was a lot of moments like that. Okay. Where I think that I'm supposed to walk into the room. I'm supposed, this is my opportunity. This is my golden ticket. And then something would just not gel. And so now when I look back, I go, okay, God, I see you were there the whole time.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm grateful for the very most. I mean, because we all have horror stories, and we all have moments where, listen, I was assaulted by another comedian.
Excuse me?
I was assaulted by another comedian once.
A male?
So, yeah, oh yeah, movie star. You know, slapped me around, beat me up, ripped my clothes off, told me, bitch, I never liked you anyway, and trying to get some, and I was fighting off and beat me up in my own house.
Really? And you didn't
And
call the police or anything, AJ?
no, because I had a get together at my house. We was all doing some illegal party favors, and I felt ashamed. And I said I didn't like him anyway, and I shouldn't have invited him. And that was
Okay.
my reason for not, you know what I mean? So I took
Okay.
responsibility, not for his actions, but I took responsibility for allowing him to cross that threshold. And he passed away a couple of years ago, I think. And
You know we all gonna be like,
he passed away a couple of years ago. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. You know that you remember that scene where the Wicked Witch of the West was dead, and they said, "Ding dong, the witch is dead." Ding dong. That's how I felt. I was like, "Peace out, nigga."
I know that's
Oh
right.
well.
I know
But
I know
here's the
that's
thing. Over the years, I have forgiven. I made peace with it or whatever and stuff. But
But why protect him now though, AJ? I'm not saying you should say the name now, but you might want to say that in the book.
I'm gonna say it in the book.
Okay, you gonna say the name in the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, but yeah, but that was some shit that I mean, so when people say, "Oh, you know, casting couch," it ain't just a casting couch. Sometimes it's your peers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Sometimes it's your peers that double cross you, something that you think that you feel safe with that you're not. And
Yeah.
that was my experience. I'm not saying that's everybody's experience, but you know, and so again, you know, I've had stalkers, you know, that followed me from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast where I needed to have security, you know, and people that, oh, you know, you weren't really around, you didn't really, I was afraid to go out. I was afraid to go to the clubs at night because I didn't know if I was going to run into him or not. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And around that, not too long before that, Rebecca Schaefer had been shot in the face, you know, from a stalker. So I was very conscious and very, you know, self-conscious of going out and, you know, and smoking weed didn't help because I was paranoid all the time, you know. So yeah, I just, you know, so when I got away from LA, man, I just felt this weight of the world lifted from me, you know, that I was like, man, let me just go live life. That's why I was like, I need to go live life and not be so obsessed with working and being famous. And, you know, I've got enough money. I've got enough, you know, I've had a good run, you know, I had a good career, you know, and I've made money. So let me just go and find myself and really find a way to be happy without that. Because I didn't know who I was without that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so now that I know who I am without that, it feels good to go back into it with ease and comfort and with no expectations and just the expectation of just doing a great job on stage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, I work on cruises and I get to go all over the world and perform in front of people from all over the country, you know, and that's such a blessing because it's still a sense of freedom that I get to practice my craft. I get to, you know, get to do what I love and don't feel the pressure of Hollywood behind it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's God's restoring my life and restoring my career in a way that I didn't even expect.
Mm-hmm. The chat is already trying to figure out who the person is. Now, let me say this, or let me ask you this if you want to say. The person that passed away a couple of years ago, I see what they're putting in the chat, and they didn't say the name, but I already know who they're referring to. Is it someone that's super famous? You said a movie star, right? So it's not the
No,
person they have in the
nah,
chat.
he wasn't no movie star. But I mean,
Was
but he was in a big movie. I'll put it to you that way.
okay. It's not
Um,
the person. There's some. I know who they are trying to say. They are thinking it's David Arnold. It's not David Arnold.
oh no, oh no, no, no,
I
no,
knew it wasn't
no,
him, but I knew
no,
that must be who
no,
they thought it was.
no,
Um,
no, never David Arnold. David Arnold was just he was an extraordinary he was an extraordinary gentleman. I didn't even really know him personally, but I used to watch him all the time at the Comedy Union, and I think we cross paths every now and then. But no, David Arnold was just was just a hard working. He was focused on his dream. You know,
Yeah.
he was somebody that his work ethic was something that I had aspired to. You know, because I mean, I won't say I never worked that hard. I just, you know, he worked hard.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so check your phone.
Oh shoot. Okay. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oop. Okay.
Oh, she gonna take her earrings off now. She want to fight the
I was gonna say something. I had to. Okay. Yeah. No. Let me say this about David Arnold real quick to you guys. And what's ironic, I didn't know him either, but I had talked to him about 2 months before he passed away because he had agreed to come on my little podcast, and then he passed away, and I was devastated. Like I knew him personally, so. Yeah, he was doing a lot, and the amount of stuff that he accomplished just before passing too is.
I think what makes me more sad is just watching. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that what makes me the saddest about his story is that you know, he worked so hard. You know, he just worked so hard to get what he got. You know, he worked so hard, and I just had so much respect. I went to the premiere of his special, and it was the whole room and the whole event was just buzzing because there was never another time that I remember going to a premiere where every single body is 1000% happy for you. Everybody was so excited. Oh, you know, he did it the right way. You know, hard work is paying off. And, you know, we were just so excited for him. And then the special was great.
Yep.
And then he went up and said a few words, and we were just all like, just hanging on every word. Like we were just so happy, like genuinely, like, you know, a lot of times in Hollywood, everybody ain't happy for you when they go to your premiere. You know what I mean? And everybody ain't, you know, rooting for you in the sideline. Everybody was rooting for David Arnold to make it because we were so, you know, because we watched him grind it out at the clubs like I told you, I ain't worked that hard. I didn't. You know, I ain't worked that hard. And I watched him and I was just like, wow, it's all coming together. And this is like, we all knew that he deserved all the greatness that was ahead of him. And it was just it was like somebody just snatched the rug from all of us, from under us all, you know, because he was the hope. You know, he was the hope that, see, hard work's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do is just grind it out and build your work ethic and, you know, do the work. And
because he had been at it for years. And, you know, I'm from Ohio. By the way, I'm from Columbus, Vince Morse is from Columbus, Ohio, I believe. And then David's from Cleveland. And we have mutual friends and everybody has talked about when David passed away in particular. I remember watching all of the memorial services and things for him, and then seeing a lot of the people that I was personally connected to that had nothing to do with the business, but knew him just from the community or knew his family. Everybody was so hurt about that. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you just loved him. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you first and foremost. I know I'm keeping you longer than I expected.
That's okay.
You give me about 15 more minutes.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break and play a commercial. When we come back, I want to specifically ask you about some of the people who have been in the news and just your take on the things that are being talked about as it pertains to a lot of the people we've already mentioned and people that you obviously know personally. Okay. Right. So we'll take a quick break. If you want to grab something to drink or something, that's great. Everybody, if you'd like to contribute to the show, please do. And you can do so by hitting me up on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat, whatever floats your boat. Check us out right here. All right, okay. I'm gonna say the best for last, or the best to me, my favorite for last. Let's start off with the. Well, actually, it ties in to my favorite. My favorite is Cat. Okay, I love me some Cat Williams. Just know that. All right, there's no getting around it. Actually, Cat and Dave. Dave is my favorite comedian. He and Cat are my faves.
Dave who? Arnold or Chappelle?
Chappelle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, also Ohio. Hello.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I want to ask you about Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears and the whole situation last year where the little skit came out with the small child. What did you think about that from a comedian standpoint? Did you see that whole situation as, oh, it's just comedy? Or did you see the inappropriateness that the rest of us saw?
I thought it was some weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? I don't, to be honest, I didn't really see the comedy in that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I was
So
very uncomfortable.
yeah, I was like, this is weird. What is this? And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I just thought it was very strange. See, this is the thing. So from an artist standpoint, from a comedian standpoint, it
Mm-hmm.
looked like this was some shit that they did, to build up their resume, or this is something that somebody didn't really this is somebody that, it seemed like they did something that they didn't really think through all the way or something. I don't know. Because I always wonder, like, why would they do this? Like, as a comedian, why do you think that shit is funny?
Right.
So that was my first thought. Like, what the fuck is this? It's weird.
The first thing that came to my mind was, who is this little boy's mama? Because ain't no way in hell you'd have my little boy in his underwear. I didn't understand it. And then to later find out that the mother didn't even know what was happening made me even more concerned about these adults. I already thought the adults were trash for allowing it. Okay. But to understand that they literally knew this was not going to go over well with a parent or someone, and they still did it, like they had to sneak to do it almost. And then what really threw me off is that this happened years, a decade or so prior. So it sat somewhere. A lot of people obviously saw it. A network allowed it on their website for I don't know how long, only for us to now say, oh, ooh, everybody's up in arms now, and they take it down immediately. But they allowed it to be up there. So I just didn't understand, how does that even happen? And the Tea Lounge, thank you so much for your super chat.
Yeah, that was very nice. Okay. I'm gonna figure out a way to say that for you. Okay, Tea Lounge.
Okay.
I don't know how. I don't know how I'm gonna fit that in, but here's the thing. So so what you're saying is you don't really understand how it was allowed.
Yeah, I don't even understand. Do you think that was almost a setup too? Like, I almost feel like I heard Kat say something that sort of aligned with what I thought about the industry. And that is, they will let you do fucked up shit. They will help you do fucked up shit only so that they can use it when they want to later on if they choose to. So do you see that as being one of those instances where that might have been what was going on here?
Yes.
Okay. That's how I saw it.
Because
so
I mean,
I just thought this is crazy.
So the thing that I love what Cat Williams has done. First of all, comedy is a hot topic. Now people want to talk to us again, and that's nice. And what I hope that comes out of the Cat Williams, the interview that was heard around the world, what I hope comes out of that is that people stop idolizing celebrities the way that they do.
Amen.
And I don't care if I become a gazillionaire and I become which I'll never become uber famous I because I know what the price is to pay to become that famous. So I don't even want that. But
Mhm.
we gotta stop idolizing these people. They're just humans,
Mhm.
just people, you know?
Mhm.
And I hope that at some point people stop looking to Steve Harvey to give them dating tips. It's like, really?
The man on the third wife?
Now listen, and I ain't judging because I've been married twice. But
That's okay. But
I'm
he
not
cheated on every wife with the next wife. Okay, but anyway.
so what you got to tell me, bruh? What you gonna tell me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like how not to be cheated on? I mean, because that's the best, that's what you should have wrote about. You know what I mean? You should you should come from a cheater's perspective and say, this is how we think, these are the signs. I would have
Mm-hmm.
picked that book up real quick, and it would have helped me not even be married to my second one. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I mean, you can't, don't come and don't give me this holier than thou and talk down from your ivory tower
Mm.
when you are super duper flawed. You know what I mean? And then you want to hide behind the guise of God and be like, you know what I mean? And ain't nobody, and nobody's judging you about your religion, your faith, not, but keep it 100.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like we got to stop idolizing these people and then get disappointed, when we realize that they're only human, or that they stole jokes, or that they really aren't what they say they are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We just we gotta do better in terms of our perception of these people, because all your skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
Thank
That
you.
that interview with Monique and him spoke
Yeah.
volumes. It
Yeah.
spoke volumes
Yeah.
because regardless of her approach, she was right. Where does integrity come in? Like,
Yeah.
all money ain't good money.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of respect for Monique for standing on her square like that, because
Mhm.
it took a lot. She took a lot of shots for that, and it's all coming back full circle in her favor. So
Sure
I'm
is.
grateful that I'm grateful that history is being kind to her,
Mhm.
because all the things that she said, all the gripes that she had, all of the reasons that quote unquote she was blackballed for, whatever, all of that is playing out.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
really happy. And here's the thing, people like myself, I knew
Mhm.
she was right back then. But people ain't gonna listen to me because I don't get a million likes. I don't have a gazillion followers. I don't, and I won't, and I'm not trying to get that. Don't get me wrong. I ain't putting thousands of asses in seats because I haven't been on the circuit like that. So I know
Mhm.
exactly where my position is. So I just sat quietly on the sidelines, prayed for her, and because I knew that all that shit she said was true about the people that she talked about, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So should her approach have been different? Maybe,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
the truth is what it is. Sometimes the truth ain't gonna be pretty and sexy and wrapped up in a bow.
I'll give you that. I didn't like the delivery of it, but I didn't dispute that what she experienced was not fair and that what she said made sense. I just didn't like how it came across. But now you're right. It's all full circle moment. And even now Taraji is repeating pretty much what she was saying all along, So I get it. I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
mean, and a lot of it was self-serving, for Monique too. Nobody is really perfect in the way. But what I will say though is very powerful people love to gaslight.
Yeah.
They love to gaslight and make the person who's got a grievance, they make them out to be crazy, or that person's got mental health issue. They love to just laugh it off as if, oh, look at that. But Cat Williams said something that was very interesting. He said their only job is to tell you that it didn't happen.
That's right.
You see?
That's right.
So if anyone really understood what he meant by that, all
Mm-hmm.
you have to do is just really listen.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen
Mm-hmm.
to what's not being said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you'll get your, answer or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
um it it I'm really glad that it's playing out in her favor at this point, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I knew that she was telling the truth. Again, it was the delivery, I think. But how else you gonna say it when you're
Mm-hmm.
mad and when you're feeling some type of way? How else are you gonna say it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I'm
get.
and I respect anybody who's willing to take hits, because I know that I'm a very sensitive person. So I know like all the shit that she took, man. I was like, I don't know if I could have taken all that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
sometimes God allows certain things to happen to certain people because He knows how strong it is, how strong we are, and He knows that we can take it, you
Yep.
know. So I
I
respect that.
moved I moved to Atlanta in 93 because I thought I wanted to be a singer, right? Only to get down there and to be approached time and time again the wrong way. I knew very quickly that I wasn't built for the type of rejection and the amount of rejection I was probably going to experience, in contrast to the amount of yeses I was probably going to get. Was my soul going to be able to live through that? The way in which men were approaching me, I just knew I wasn't built for it. So I immediately took myself out of that arena and went and found something else. So
I
I
think
get
that's
it.
wise.
I'm not built.
I think that's my story too. You know what I mean? I think God knew exactly how much to give me and how much to protect me from. Like everything that I thought that I wanted,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't get it, and I'm grateful that now that I know what I know, I'm glad that I would have been put in positions that I probably couldn't get myself out of,
Right.
and I so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful that it all happened the way that it did.
Yep.
Even the Jamie Foxx situation, I'm grateful that it happened the way that it did, because I know how I was back then, and
Mhm.
I know that I probably would have allowed myself to experience some things that I probably would regret today,
Yeah.
just for the sake of being famous or being
Yeah.
hot or being whatever. I'm grateful that God knew more than I knew.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And in the moment, you feel devastated by it. You're
Oh
like, this is my
God,
dream. This is what,
yes,
but honey, I'm so grateful
yes.
now. I don't know what to do. Okay, let's talk
Woo!
about Will slapping Chris. I know that was a while ago, but I just want to know. You said you went on tour with Chris. You know Chris. I don't know if you know Will, but how did you feel that day when you watched the Oscars and you saw that happen? And then your friend Jada is on the sideline.
So I don't really know what to think about that. I guess it's all kind of playing out as well. Chris, I've always known Chris Rock to be a gentleman, and I love him and his brother Tony Rock. Have you seen Tony? Oh my God, Tony Rock is just
First of all, he's
he's
fine, but he's funny. He is
well, that there you go. I mean, hello. I ain't trying to.
How tall is he, by the way? No, okay.
I
Anyway.
mean, he tall enough. I tell you
Okay.
that. Yes, and he's adorable, and
Mhm.
so but he's uber talented, and I'm baffled by why he's not more famous
Not
right now.
bigger. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he is so talented. Anyway, so I love them both, and I thought I thought the joke that he did was, I mean, it was just one of those throwaway, oh, G.I. Jane, okay, oh, I see you rocking the bald head, whatever. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay. Um, it was an award show joke. It wasn't even that heavy hitting. It wasn't offensive. It was just a reference. It wasn't a joke about Jada as a person, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. He didn't attack any of that. So for him to go up and do, and so when that happened, I was like, did that just, and I thought it was like a little skit at first, I think
Right.
like everybody thought.
Right.
And I don't know. It was like I what we the world watched Will Smith lose his credibility like within seconds. Like everything that the superstar,
Yep.
gentleman, happy go lucky,
Yep.
movie star, all the hard work he's put into his career,
Yep.
like all of that literally walked off stage when he walked back to his seat, and we didn't know. I mean, I'm still like, dude, what?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really know what to think of it. I just know that, no one will ever see Will the same way again. And that's a shame
Yeah.
because he really earned his way to be at the top. And that was another moment where everybody was so excited to watch, because that's the only reason I watched the Oscars that night,
Me
was to
too.
see him get the trophy,
Right.
because he should have got it from Muhammad Ali, and he
Right.
should have got it for something else that he
Pursuit
did.
of Happiness.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
so by right, he should have 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're all thinking, yes, this is his moment, this is his time. Everybody's really excited. And he literally threw that away by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But now we actually know some other stuff
Right.
that
Well, and you're right. You, Ajai Sanders, made the most profound statement on Facebook when you said, right after that happened, you said, I don't even know if you remember what you said. You said, this man has done nothing but give us quality, and I'm paraphrasing,
yeah,
quality work for 30 years. And
yeah.
now everybody wants to throw him away, in this moment. And while Chris is your friend, you could see that, look, this man is a man. Now, like you said, we're learning more about what was going on in this man's head, what's going on in his household, all this other shit that just says he's a human being too. He's not perfect. And while that was the worst thing he could have done in that moment, and it was so unfortunate that it happened to Chris Rock or anybody for that matter, it still was hurtful to me. I felt bad for him because I felt
Yeah.
like there's something
Yeah.
going on here. Like, we've
Yeah.
seen this dude, he knows how to act in public and nothing else. We've seen
Yeah.
him do it for 30 years. So I felt a way about it. But you
I
made that
just
profound statement.
And I had just read his book, and his book was amazing. And I have not read Jada's book, and I probably never will. I
Why? Wait, why? You got it. No, wait, why?
Because I just don't have any interest.
Okay.
I
Do
don't
you
have any
not
interest.
believe the things that she's saying about? Because people are saying they don't believe her.
I don't. I'm just really. What I will say is I have a really funny joke about them that I can't wait for y'all to hear.
Okay. But wait.
um, it's about her entanglement.
Mm.
So so it's really funny too. Really funny. I can't wait for y'all to see it.
Okay.
I just don't. Here's what I feel like. She came off very narcissistic. She came off very. I didn't feel any. I don't know. I didn't feel. Some people, you just feel their heart. You know what I mean? And her book promo, it just came off very disingenuous. It came off like, well, like, I don't know. I'm the victim. Let me just say this. This is the thing that really got my attention when they were on Red Table Talk, and she looked him in the face, and so she said, it's been a long time since I felt good to your husband. And then she said it again. It's been a long time since I felt good. I was like, oh, is he going to slap the shit out of her now?
Shut up.
Or is he going to slap her when the fucking cameras are off? Because he don't say that shit. Who says that shit? Like, who says that? To their husband about the man that I was like, oh, wow. I don't even know how to, like, and I was like, wow. So, like, in front of people. She said that in front of people. And I was like, wow.
But AJ, on the flip side of that, though, let's be clear. She didn't make that man go slap Chris Rock. And yes, she had an entanglement, but he was having several. He had women we just didn't. I knew, but he folks didn't really know, and they just thought she was out here with this little boy having a thing. He had women, sis.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, it's all very. It's very. You know, they're the only two people that know how to define their relationship.
That's true.
And so I just leave it in their lap because it's too much for me to no pun intended, but it's too much for me to untangle. And it's just a lot. And you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. You know what? I have opinions about it, and I just don't know. I don't know how to. I don't think it's right that I talk about somebody else's relationship or their motives or whatever, because I don't know if I would ever be in that situation where I'd have to, where people don't really don't get it, and it's not. I guess it's just not for me to get. But I really don't get it. I really don't. There's a lot of it that I just don't get. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, dude, just, leave. But he's never going to leave. She's never going to leave. They have an understanding, whatever that understanding is.
They don't live together. I mean, Jada just said they haven't lived together in 7 years.
That's the perfect arrangement. That's the perfect marriage for me. Go on now. I'm gonna be in this big ass house. I'm gonna shop when I want. I'm gonna drive this big fancy car. I'm gonna live my best life and call me when the Oscars are happening. Get my dress designed, but don't come. You know what I'm so?
Yeah.
What? Hey, whatever works for them. I pray that both of them get everything that they want out of life. Their kids are great, and I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I only know Jada from the 90s. I don't know this version of her. Sure. And I only know Will from the 90s. So I don't know.
So you did know Will too back then?
Well, I mean, I did a show.
Oh, you did Fresh Prince too? Okay.
I did like 3 episodes of Fresh Prince. So all of Black Hollywood we all just kind of knew each other, hung out. We traveled the same circles and the whole thing. Yeah. So I only know them from back then. I don't know the 50-year-old version of them. I haven't spent time with them. And so it's not fair for me to say, oh, well, this is what I think it is. I mean, I have thoughts about it, but because I do believe that people are who they are. They're just older versions of themselves, but I can't assume that without having spent time with you. So it's the same thing. I know people probably got stories about me, but the shit they probably talking about probably happened 30 years ago. That person don't exist no more. So I got to be fair and give them that pass unless I have an experience with them, now, and then I can go, oh, that nigga's still stupid. You know what I mean? I don't know. So, I don't know, girl. Life is a funny thing, girl. So I hope she is happy.
All right. So let's get forward to, let me ask you about Dave Chappelle real quick.
Okay.
His last special, people are up in arms. They're more up in arms about this last one than the one prior to that when he was talking about transgender community. This one, he tapped into it a little bit. I absolutely still thought it was brilliant. I laughed my ass off the whole time. I still feel like comedy should be comedy. And what do you think?
I posted a video about it.
Oh, you did?
And I did. And I talked about my experience in the Dominican Republic recently, that I went to the Dominican Republic a couple of months ago. And this woman complained to me about the joke that I did about women of a certain size. Because when you do cruises, you see a lot of people at the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain people at the pool that shouldn't be at the pool.
Thank you.
And there are certain people that be wearing bikinis that shouldn't wear bikinis. And I'm not saying that you don't, see, Lizzo got these women fucked up. You know what I mean? She first of all, Lizzo is somewhere working out right now. If y'all don't know, like she's somewhere getting her body together, and y'all sitting around here talking about This okay, it's okay, but I'm gonna do no. That ain't what this is. Okay,
Yeah.
boo. So I do this joke about that, and it's funny, and the audience got it, and everybody laughed. And then this one girl came up to me. She was like, about she was a juicy little girl, little lady, and she was like, I was 500 pounds, and now I'm down to 300 pounds. I was like, good for you. And then she was like, I just want to let you know that made me feel some type of way, and and you don't know where people are in their weight loss journey. I said, and you don't know where I'm at in my weight loss journey. I'm in my 50s now, and I'm dealing with things that I've never dealt with my body before.
Right.
So I talk about that because I'm conscious of what I'm doing. And that's what, and I said, and I never talked about people being fat. I talked about how you should dress your fat.
Thank you.
Know what I'm saying? Dress yourself accordingly. Just because it say large, it don't mean you're large.
Right, because large in China is not the large here.
No, it is not. It is not. So when you
I found that out. But anyway.
Don't inflict I don't need to see when your last colonoscopy appointment was. I don't need to see your last OBGYN situation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see all of that. And your kids don't need to. So anyway, so we talked about it, and so I explained it. So then she was like, oh, well, okay, now she got it, and we ended up taking pictures together, and we ended up laughing and joking. She understood or whatever, and I cleared it up for her. And then she was like, I want to introduce you to my autistic boyfriend. Now I'm looking at her. I said, no, I got to talk about this, right? How you gonna spring that on me? Like I should be offended. Like, I have autistic people in my family. Like, you don't know where I'm at with my journey. Now I'm feeling some type of way. So I said all that to say that Dave Chappelle talking about handicap, like,
yeah,
it's just comedy.
It's just comedy.
And though it's a well-crafted bit, and really what it feels like to me was that he was poking fun at the fact that it was like he was poking fun at the controversy. Right. Not so, he wasn't so much poking fun at a handicapped community. It was more about, see, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Like, I'm doing comedy. This is just comedy. And when he talked about the senator who was paraplegic and lost his seat, I was like, okay, Dave, you're really taking me there. You know what I mean? And so but see, what people don't realize is that comedy has gotten really soft, and society has gotten really soft.
Right.
To the point where we don't know how to appreciate comedy anymore. And that's what I'm grateful. That's what I'm grateful about with Dave, is because now he's giving comedians their power back to be free enough to utilize our free speech and our creativity without fear. And if it does, that's what I told the young lady. I said, see, the fact that we're having this conversation means that I did my job effectively. Because if you didn't walk out of there feeling differently, then I didn't do my job. One way or the other. And if you felt bad, if you felt some type of way, you felt angry, pissed off, you want to go on my social media page and cuss me out, I did my job. I'm supposed to make you feel some type of way, because however you feel about me, you're going to think twice about putting a bikini on with that 300 pounds of yours, and you're going to cover that shit up. Don't nobody want to see all that. Period. I'm not going to show you my varicose veins and my stretch marks either. Listen, I got flaws too.
Thank you.
I'm not going to cover that shit. I'm making it look real cute. I'm going to camouflage it real good and make my stuff look real, like, sexy. I'm going to got my creams. Right. I'm a concealer. Listen, there's stuff out there on the market for us to look, So, and I'm working out, and I'm doing my part. So I'm asking you to do your part. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? And now it's so funny because when I go on lately, I've noticed on Carnival Cruise Lines, like, they have signs everywhere. Please wear a cover up.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they got, there's a new thing, a new policy now. You can't be going out to the pool no more without covering that mess up. Because, I mean, come on. It
There's
did get out of
kids.
hand for a minute. It got, oh girl, I was like, wow. I don't even know where to look. It was like, oh my God, come on. You're making this real hard on a comedian. Y'all don't even know I'm about to talk about y'all's asses tonight. So
look, I don't know if I told you this, but I used to live and work on cruise ships for 3 years. 3 years
right.
as a trainer. I used to train the crew. So, often we go, be in different ports, and there would be folks that would go to some of the beaches. I want to say, like, I'd be in France, and I think they have like a nude beach in France that a lot of people would go to. I had never gone. And one of the main reasons why I didn't go was because I heard everybody at the nude beach were people you didn't want to see nude anyway. So what was the point? It's like, it's so nasty. That's it. That's what people would say. So anyway,
it's all, and they have nude cruises too.
Huh? Yeah. What?
They have nude cruises. I saw an offer to do 1 week on a nude on a I forgot what they call it, clothes optional cruise. I was like, yeah, I don't want to see everybody dangling flying back and forth. I'm good.
Hell no.
I'm all right. I'm good.
Ooh, you about to make me throw up a little bit in my mouth. Now,
I know.
Lastly, I want to talk about Kat again real quick and talk about that interview. He talked about jokes being stolen. He talked about the people who he accused of stealing the jokes, who I have actually seen the footage of these actual jokes having been stolen. What do you say about any of that? Have you ever experienced a joke being stolen? And how do you, and what does that look like? Like, I think Cedric, his argument is, oh no, that's not your joke. My joke is a spaceship. Your joke is a car. It's the same joke though, to me, but I'm not a comic. What say you?
I did a show with Bill Bellamy at the Catalina Jazz Club a few months back, and I had no idea who was in the audience. I heard it was a fundraiser, and Bill asked me to come do it, and I did it. I rocked the stage, had a great set. An actress walked up to me, the actress from New Jack City, Vanessa Williams, great lady. She walked up, she just hugged me. She was like, oh my God, you were so great. Yep, rockabye baby. She was just like, oh, you were so great. Da 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 da. She took video footage. She videoed me, and she's been trying to send it to me, but I haven't gotten it yet. And then I saw Kim Whitley there, and she was very complimentary. And then I also heard that Cedric the Entertainer was in the audience, and I was like, ruh-roh.
Shut up, girl. Shut up.
I was like, oh shit.
What?
That's exactly that was my first thought was, oh.
So you had heard this about him long before this. This was a thing.
No, I've been around for 30 years. Of course I know. Of course I know. So this
is a known thing that you all talk about though? Like, oh, so-and-so stole this joke and so-and-so stole that joke?
Yeah. So it's not new news, number one. There's several others that have been accused of the same thing that I've seen. So my training from Robin Harris was that was the first rule of thumb. He used to always tell me it's better to be unfunny with your own material than to be funny with somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really made me work hard at, doing my best to, be as original as possible. And it's one thing to talk about the same subject, because there's only 5 subjects in the world, right? And if I have an airline joke and somebody else has an airline joke, then I'm gonna do my best to come from another perspective. Like during the whole OJ trial, like everybody talked about it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I want to talk about this, but how do I come from a different angle? So I just came from a whole different perspective, and I just talked about the lawyers. I didn't talk about whether he did it or not, or the murders, or whether he's black or white, or the Bronco, I didn't talk about none of that shit. I just talked about the lawyers, and I made that as funny as I could. And so that's when you know that somebody's, doing their own work. You know what I mean? Because I'm making notes and checking boxes like, okay, they're talking about this, they're talking, okay, don't talk about that because they're already talking about that. So let me make sure. But and what Bernie Mac said is true, is like if you're an established comedian, they usually steal from people that are not
Established.
not established, up and coming. They'll steal a print and they'll take it and make it their own. And so that's why I was like, because I haven't been, people don't see me that much around town. They don't see me work a lot. They don't know I'm working as much as I'm working. And so for his people to be in the comedians to be in the audience, I was like, because I don't like to do my stuff in front of comedians because it's, you fair game.
Yeah.
Especially if they already got a name, they can go to their writers and go, hey, I want to talk about this. I want to say this, even though the writer may not know where they're coming from.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's one girl did my joke in front of me long time ago. And I was like, hey, I'm in the room. And then I used to do this thing where I would talk about Denzel and I would turn a flip. And so then some dude took that,
Really?
But then he was like, well, I do multiple flips. It's like, okay, nigga, whatever. Like,
wow.
Nobody doing cartwheels on stage until okay. So, so what that does, it just, it promotes creativity and it makes, you work harder and stuff. But it's not cool. It's not cool. And it shows lack of integrity. Like I remember Martin Lawrence and Ricky Harris got into a big fight, like a fist fight at the Comedy Act Theater when Ricky took one of Martin's jokes and Martin whooped his ass. Martin whooped his ass.
I was going to say, well, Martin is a prize fighter. He used to be a Golden Globe or golden, what is it called? Golden Glove.
Let me tell you, and Ricky's my dude. I miss Ricky every single day. Every time I sit down and write a joke, I always listen to, I call on him. I summon him up because that's my dude. But he, it was back in the day, and it was just one of those nights that Ricky just and Ricky was starting out, and he had just kind of, latched on to some other people's stuff until he found his own identity. And, he even told a joke that was a joke, Brad Garrett's joke, because I remember hearing it and I was like, oh shit, that's not, wait, So yeah, it happens. It happens quite a bit. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, I don't really buy the whole, you had a car, I did a spaceship, because if the premise is exactly the same.
Exactly. Down to the music, down to the whole thing. It's the same joke. I saw too where he had done is it Bonicious, yeah.
Now, this is what I'll say about that.
Okay,
what I'll say about that. So in Cedric's defense on this one, I don't know for sure, but when Kat said that Ced doesn't write, Ced has, I'm guessing that he has help writing. I don't know. So I'm going to assume that Cedric had writers for this particular moment. Okay. I don't know if it was a special or whatever when he did it.
Yep.
And I'm thinking maybe one of his writers
stole it.
Took it from that, thinking, oh, it's an old sitcom, nobody watches it, that's a funny bit, let me bring it to Ced and revive it or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe Ced didn't know where that came from. I'm guessing. I can't see Cedric sitting down every night watching Designing Women and then him sitting there with a pen and pad like, ooh, that shit is funny. Like, I don't see him doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe somebody that did watch it, thought it was funny, and probably wrote it for Ced and thought that it was gonna not be, known or whatever, and no one would be the wiser, and nobody would, know that that's where it came from. But I'm gonna give Ced a pass on that one. But
I also saw one. No, I saw another one that Steve and I can't remember it right now, but Steve, they had proof, video proof just this week of Steve stealing one of Kat's jokes too.
And Mark Curry's jokes.
And yeah, definitely Mark Curry's whole thing.
Yeah. Well, no, Steve did a joke on his, Steve did Mark Curry's joke about how at Halloween they used to go as UPS boxes. His mama just put a box on them because they ain't had no money or something.
Oh no, I ain't
and they just put a box on them. He said, "What are you? You know, I'm a UPS or whatever." That was Mark's actual bit because that actually happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So for Chris, for Steve to actually do it word for word, it was like, yikes! What are you doing, bro? You know. So.
Well, they had another one. It was cats, and they showed the videos. If I find it again, I'll send it to you.
Oh! I know which one you're talking about. Getting gas.
Yes, getting gas. That's right. Yeah. Sure is. I was like,
yeah.
Well, damn. Cat literally set the whole internet streets on fire.
Yeah.
Sent all of the internet out to do investigative work, and they did it, boy. He didn't send us to do it, but we sure did it, and we saw it, and it's done now. Let me ask you this. The things he said about Kevin being a plant, do you think that there are industry plants? And when we say an industry plant, so when I used to hear industry plant, I always thought that, because I heard people say, oh, Diddy's an industry plant, or so-and-so's an industry plant, or they work with, I don't know. And I always thought that meant they were there to spy on people, or they were, I didn't know it meant until the other day. The way he laid it out was like, oh, you mean somebody has discovered this person and then laid out a whole plan for them and just handed over basically opportunities to ensure their success. Like they say that about Cardi. He said that about Kevin Hart. What do you think about that? Is that something you see?
Well, the question is, why would they do that? So that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Like, if that is the case, and there's proof that that's the case, my question is, why? Why would you? Why choose? Right, just like what I said about Jada. Like, why is it? Why is the red carpet laid out for you and not for someone that has more talent and not for someone that's been working this thing? I know a lot of talented comedians that have been overlooked and under acknowledged. A lot. And they got the whole package. They fine. Like you said, Tony Rocket's fine. Why ain't he more famous than he is? He got a famous brother. Why not? What where's his star in the Walk of Fame at? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Vince Morris. He's another one. Good looking, in shape, smart, intelligent, funny, talented. He can act. He writes his own material. What's the problem? Right? There's a lot of brilliant comedian. Billy D. Washington, he's another one. Brilliant comedian. Like, there's so many comedians out there that have been overlooked for so many years, and then all of a sudden you got these top 4, these top 3 that really ain't. I mean, that's like choosing. That's like in the upcoming election. I'm not a political comedian at all, so please don't. Let's not go further with this. But just as an example, it's like, oh well, I might as well, do this one because ain't nobody, the choices aren't really there. We don't have any, you know what I mean? But why don't we have any more? Why don't we see these other comedians that are really, really great? Like, I'm talking great, man. I'm talking getting standing O's all over the world. I'm talking they killing the game, but Hollywood ain't paying them any attention. Why is that? And why is Kevin Hart the golden boy? What's that for? So we have to just ask ourselves why. And then the more we ask that question, the answers will come.
And then last question is, what do you think about Kat bringing Tori Hart on the road with him?
I think it's a flex.
For sure.
I think it's a flex. Cat is very. I don't know him personally, so let me just say that. I only met him once when he did Def Jam, and I was like, "Bruh, I really, we got to take a picture together." And he looked at me. He says, "I ain't got to do nothing." I said, "You right," and we never got that picture. So
What?
I still respect him as an artist, and I respect his intelligence, and I respect his hustle, and I respect where he stands, and I respect the fact that he is true to who he is. Okay. And so I don't know him personally, but when I saw that, I was like, checkmate, you know, and whatever. I'm not a competitive comedian. Like, I just want to entertain. I want you guys to enjoy yourselves whenever you come to the shows. I'm not I'm not striving to sell out arenas. That's not because I'm already rich.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't need fame because it's a trap.
Right.
I already know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole thing moving forward is just about me just enjoying my life. Number one, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just staying true to myself, being a
Yeah.
good friend, being a good auntie, being a good sister, being a good woman, being a good daughter. Like, that's my goal every day, is to be the best version of myself. So
Yeah.
I'm not here to try to be uh AJ Sanders the superstar, because that's not on my list of things to do at all. Do I want to do a special? Absolutely. That's in the works. Do I want to write a book? Absolutely, because I think my story deserves to be told, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
probably help somebody else. Um, you know, do I want to be successful? Success is only defined by who my definition. It's only defined by me. What I define as success and what I find to be sufficient, that's what
Mm-hmm.
success is to me. I don't need it. I don't need Hollywood's validation. I don't need the applause of other people. I don't even want to be like, I don't even need to be liked by my peers. I don't care about that anymore. I used to go up to people and be like, "Oh, what do you think about that set?" And because I ran into so much hate, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm cool. Like, I need to be confident in myself, in my work. I
That's
know
right.
I'm good at what I do. And so now I'm about reinvesting and betting on me, you know? And that's it. It's not about nobody else. So when I say these things, it's really about my experience and my perception of certain things. But, you know, Kat can play it like he wants to play it. And he's a generous dude. I respect the fact that he shows love to so many. He's the only headliner I've ever known to show so much love to female comedians.
That's what he said too.
He's the only one in history. There's always only been one chick. And I was it for a lot of years. I was the only one that they was having open up. I was on the road so much I forgot where I lived. I ain't lying. I forgot my own address one time. I didn't even know where I lived anymore. I was on the road so much, working with Martin, working with Jamie, working with Chris Rock, doing 2 tours with him, open up Mark Curry, opening up for here, opening up, and I loved it. I made a lot of money. It was fantastic. But why not more women? I've always advocated for more women to get out there. And now I see so many beautiful, young, vibrant, funny, Pretty Ricky, and this other girl. Oh, I forgot her name. I follow her too. TV or something like that. Amazing. Tori Hart. Like, there
Mm-hmm.
are so many women out there now that's just hilarious. I'm a big fan of
Mm-hmm.
hers. Love her get down. And
Mm-hmm.
there was another one. Somebody else. Name just escaped me. Anyway, but there are so many out there that are doing the damn thing, and I'm really grateful that I was one of the people that was able to, like, lay the groundwork out for them. You know what I mean? Even though they don't know that that's what I did, it doesn't matter. I know.
That's
You know,
right.
I know that I was one of the first out there to, and here's the thing, the one that breaks through the brick wall, the one that breaks through the brick wall first gets the bloodiest.
Mm.
I'm clear about that. So I took a lot of hits, so that the other ladies can go on the road with Cat Williams and go on the road with whoever else and really go make their money. They're making a lot of good money now, and they should. They should. And I get to make mine in the way that I get to make mine. That we can all eat, and there's enough for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
More
So
than enough.
more than enough, and there's a million ways to be successful. And I'm so grateful that God is giving me this path that I get to be on, and I don't have to worry about what's on the left or the right of me. I can still go out there and knock them dead and be who I am and have a good time and travel around the world and meet new people. And girl, you gotta go back to the Caribbean. Them Caribbean men are something else.
Yeah, they are something else, girl. They are something else.
Ooh, honey. Yes, ma'am. You need to go to.
Well,
So
let me say this.
I'm going.
You have been a blessing to have here. And I want you to know, girl, we will be looking for the book. We will be looking for the special. Tell us where we can find you now. Is there anywhere you want to direct us? I know I gave my moderators your IG, which is Stand Up Girl with the U.
If anyone's going to be in LA on January the 16th, I'm going to be at the Comedy Chateau, performing on the comedy mixtape show. And I think Earthquake. Yeah. I think he's hosting that. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that's what I'll be doing. That's my next thing that I'm doing in LA. I'll be doing the comedy mixtape show on January 16th. I think that's next Tuesday night. And I think that starts at either 7 or 8 o'clock, but you can always look that up.
Excellent. All right. Well, AJ, please come back to the show. Thank you so much for
coming. I would love to. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Girl, you are smart, you are funny, you are bold, and that's why I love you so much. And that's why we've been friends on Facebook probably 15 years at this point now. I have always loved you.
Thank you.
I remember, let me tell you this. You may not remember this, but years ago, it was some trial. We were watching a trial. Everybody was watching a trial.
Oh, speaking of trials, we didn't even talk about Jonathan Majors.
Oh, and that was on my list. What do you think about that? Because you were advocating for him. I just think, go ahead. What you think about it?
Well, I think he was set up.
Okay.
I think he was set up. And I think that he said no to the wrong person.
Okay.
Because I follow the whole trial. I love watching trials.
Me too.
Especially when it involves an artist or a famous person. So I watched the whole trial. I listened to all the evidence, and there's some stuff that they should not have admitted in court.
Right.
Like things from like 2 years ago or whatever. And what made me curious was there was a recording of what she said was an argument, right? And when you heard the recording, he didn't raise his voice. He was just saying, "Hey, I don't want you bringing strangers into our home." And what he said was, I am in a position to represent my culture. And he said, I need somebody by my side like a Coretta Scott King or like a Michelle Obama. He didn't say he wanted her to behave like them. He just said, I want someone that's going to stand by me like that. Okay. And he said,
I'm a great man and I'm doing great things.
I need a great woman beside me. Yeah. Who wouldn't feel that way? Right. But so my question is, why did she record that?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Why did that need recording? Number one. And number two, it was clear that she wasn't hurt. She wasn't abused. She went to party after they had the little tussle in the car. And nothing about that said abuse or anything. Nothing about that. Nothing about it. I mean, everybody who has common sense can see that there was nothing that he did that warranted him to lose his career over.
I agree with that.
And I think he was set up. I think and I talk about being a plant. I think she was set up to make him fail.
Now I can see that. I will say that this is what I think. I think everything you said is true. I don't necessarily agree with the whole Coretta Scott thing. You know,
it was just a reference. It wasn't like he wanted her again. It was a reference.
But he did it again. He did it again the other day.
But I think that's just his corny way of saying that, you know, he thinks that Coretta Scott King was a great woman and he thinks he's got a great woman in Megan. I mean, it's just a reference. You know, that's just like saying, "Oh, this is my Denzel." You know what I mean? Like, I don't really put too much into that. I think he should probably say something different, but I mean, I don't know him as a person. I think he doesn't deserve to lose his career though. But here's the thing.
I agree with you.
You know, look, y'all got to pick your people wisely though, honey. I hope clearly he's come back home because he's with Megan. So
people are saying that his whole history has been with other folk, not us.
And I don't judge that. I don't judge that because, you know, we got some work to do in our community as well. You know, we do when it comes to relationships. But when you get on that, see, that's the thing. When you get to that level, your options become fewer.
I get it.
You know, when it comes, you know what I mean? And it's very well orchestrated, baby. So here,
No, I agree with you. It is orchestrated.
Listen,
in that way.
Listen, there's a whole lot the game is played at a very high level, and when you get in those circles, what did Kat say? This is what you get.
Right. They all give you one of these.
This is what you get. This is what they give you. So
he said, "Ugly face, light skin."
Baby, that one did me in. That one did me in. And then somebody did the research and did a collage, and you were like, "Oh shit, that's exactly." Well, you know what's funny too? You know what's funny? Right. Like I remember thinking, I think I saw somebody's wife that he posted, and they had just had a baby, and I was like, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful." And then I thought, "Damn, all their wives look." I swear to James Brown, I said this. I said, "Damn, they all get women that look like this."
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder why. I said he couldn't have found nobody. Huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, there it is. You know, and so when Kat said it, I was like, oh my God, that is so true. So yeah.
Yeah, because it's a conditioning that, you know, this somehow it represents a status too. Even if they're not giving them to you, you're conditioned to think this is what I'm supposed to have. My problem is I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I have a problem when any person of any ethnicity dates exclusively outside of their own. Exclusively. I don't mind you dating, falling in love with who you fall in love with. But if you just happen to fall in love with every man or every woman you fall in love with looks nothing like you, I don't know about that. That to me says a lot about how you feel about yourself. That's some self-hate coming out, whether you recognize it or not. But it's that conditioning.
If it's not self-hate, it's self-denial. Okay. You know, you're running from something that you don't want to face. You know, because I've dated outside of my race. I've dated outside of the culture. And I remember thinking, ooh, okay, this is different. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we traveled in some different circles and it was cute until we went somewhere and I saw some beautiful Black men. And I was like, oh, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. This ain't gonna work out. Yeah, this ain't gonna work out. And we're still friends today, but I was like, and he didn't even, and there was nothing that he did, and there was nothing that the Black men did. It was something that shifted in me.
Okay.
That I was like, oh.
How long did you date him?
We dated for like 10 months.
Okay. White guy or something else?
He was like he was Black Irish. Okay.
Okay.
I'm beautiful. I mean, he was, wow, tall, beautiful, blue eyes, black hair, gorgeous. But it was just, and there was another moment that happened when we were listening to music, and Stevie Wonder came on, and I was like, oh, it was As came on, and one of my
That's
favorite
my favorite
songs. And
Stevie.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, as around the sun. And here's my thing. If your consciousness don't change when that song comes on,
Mm.
or when Maze comes on,
Mm.
or when uh Prince comes on,
Mm.
or Michael
Okay.
Jackson, if something don't shift in you, like, oh yeah, turn that up, okay. If you don't feel that the way I feel it, I can't deal with you. We can't be together. We can't go together
You
at all.
probably was like, who sings this?
No, he was
What
just
was it?
like, no,
He didn't know who
no,
sang
it
it at
wasn't.
all.
It wasn't Stevie Wonder. I tell you what it was. I tell you right now. I remember now. It was Lauryn Hill, the
Oh.
miseducation of Lauryn
Mm.
Hill, and he said something like, "God, this rap shit is getting out of hand."
What?
And I said,
That's not even a rap album.
either he said rap or hip hop or something, and I was so offended. I was like, "Ooh,
Ooh-wee.
yeah, this ain't gonna work out at all." Because I love music, number
Right.
one, and
Yeah.
I love our music, especially when it's
Mhm.
craftedly, like, we're the greatest artists of all time. So
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. So uh to deny that part of who I am would
Mhm.
have really put me in a place of self-hatred and self-loathing, and I had already experienced that.
Right.
So I don't need to go back to that. And no man should ever, a man is supposed to be a partner, is supposed to be a safe place for you. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to bring peace. And even if he doesn't get it, he accepts it. And I just didn't see that moving forward at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why I say it's a certain type of denial that you have, a self-denial, something that you're trying to dismiss, run away from, ignore, and or
Mhm.
suppress, and it could be a bad memory, something that trigger like that. I say go to therapy, honey, and get through that, because we are amazing. We are the greatest people on the planet, and every culture should feel that way. But I know that we are,
Amen.
so that's
Amen.
just where I'm at with that.
Amen. I can't disagree with you. As a matter of fact, let me just say this real quick. I saw a TikTok video today of this black guy, and he's a gay black male, but he was a black guy that was looking at different couples who were white men with black women, and he
Okay.
said something like, he said, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. He said, and I know I'm probably going to lose a lot of followers. He said, but the truth is, he said, from his perspective, he has never known a black woman who used to date black men who now date a white man who isn't happy. Like every black woman he knew to be with a white man was happy in their relationship, and some say they're happier than they've ever been. And I'm not saying that's true. I hope it ain't true. I mean,
Well, it depends
I
on,
want them to be happy in their relationships, but I sure don't want them to be happier with someone else than they are with their own. That's all I'm saying. Happier. I want
so
you to
so
be happy.
I think that just depends on your experience.
Yeah.
If you have had only negative experiences with black men, then somebody finally honors you and respects you and takes care of you the way that you need to be,
Deserve.
then I
Mhm.
and deserve. I can't argue with that. Like, so I think it just depends on that person's experience,
Right.
and that's why I say that we have work to do, because we as women need to get back to our position.
Mm.
Okay, we need to get back in position, and stop trying to be like any other culture, because we are, we are the mothers. Okay. So we need to get back and adjust our crown and get back in our position and show our men the respect that they deserve also,
That's
you
right.
know,
That's,
and then create a safe space for them to feel
yep.
like they can come to us and show us the love that we deserve. So I think it's a two-way street. And I think that both parties are fragmented. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And we as Black women have to stop falling for this bullshit narrative of we don't need a man, I'm strong, I'm happy, I can do bad by myself. That we need to really just erase that and get back to learning, what is my position?
Mm-hmm.
What is my
Mm-hmm.
job? What is my job? As a
Mm-hmm.
woman being with a man, what is my position? What is my job? And so once we start to relearn that, and hopefully, the next generation can learn that from us, is that this is how you carry yourself. This is how you know what I mean? If you want love, you got to show. Now, everybody ain't going to be perfect. Every man's not going to be receptive. I get that. But for the most part, as a community, if nothing else, learn how to be that man's friend.
Amen.
Know that man is sensitive and he's emotional. The same emotions that we have, they have too.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to acknowledge that, embrace it, and nurture that part of who they are, rather than be like, nigga, you gotta pay me and you gotta buy me, you gotta take me shopping, and I did, all this grabbing at the air shit, all this Cardi B shit, all this bullshit, ratchet, all that. All we need to really. My mother raised me to be a lady. And I'm not saying to be a prude. I'm not saying don't have, what I mean, don't have fun and explore your sexuality and all. I'm not saying any of that, because I think all that is natural. But I'm just saying, at the beginning and end of the day, who are you, and what do you want out of a relationship? We got to be able to put that on the table as well.
Mm-hmm. Amen. All right, Sister Sanders. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank
Well,
you so
we don't want
much.
we don't want a whole nother 20 minutes. Well,
I
we can talk
know.
all
I
day.
love it. I love it. I could talk to you all night, but thank you so much. And I want you to come back for sure. I want to do a ladies panel soon, like maybe in about a month or so. And I'll reach out to you and see what you think. I'll let you know a couple of other people I want to invite. You will know
Okay.
of. And
Okay.
we'll see what you think about joining us for the panel.
Okay. And if you guys are going to be in LA in Studio City on January 16th, come on out and check me out. I'm going to be at the Comedy Chateau. It'll be my first time there too. So I've heard it's a really great room, and I'm going to go have a little fun and sling a few jokes. Come on out and
Okay.
have fun with me.
Look, my son lives out there, so I'll see if he wants to go. I'll tell him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
All right. All right. Thank you, AJ.
Thank
Smooth
you.
juice.
I love you.
Love you.
So
All right.
great to see you again.
Same
Thank
here.
you for having me. Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, you guys. And you guys are sharing her IG in the chat. It is Stand Up Girl, GURL is how it's spelled. And I see, yep, they have it spelled correctly in there. Perfect. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I had a ball with Miss Ajai Sanders. Got a lot of good stuff that came out of this interview. I will be having another interview this coming Monday. I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, but it is, I'll give you a hint. And how about this? I'm going to give you a hint of who it is. And if you can guess who it is, we will give you a t-shirt. How about that? One of his t-shirts. So that's the first hint. It's a male. It's a man. He's an actor. He's a dancer. And he's the star of a current drama right now. Okay? He is somebody I've known for over 20 years at this point, and he's going to come on Monday. So join us back on Monday for another great interview. But in between time and in the meantime, I hope that you all have a great night. I want to say thank you to my wonderful moderators. Hi, Miss T Velocity. Thank you. You guys can still share this video. Hello. You can still share it. All right. You can still subscribe if you have not already subscribed. And please, please, please like the video. I didn't check the likes. You know, I was engrossed in this wonderful conversation. But I really want you guys to share, like, and subscribe. All right. Oh, and if you have any show ideas or maybe even some ideas of some people to even interview, you can hit me up right here. Yay. Hey, Wigs and Wine. Hey, Miss T Lounge. Oh, and also, I didn't get to say it out loud, but the Queen Be For You reacts. Thank you again for your super sticker earlier. I had it up here, but you know, I was running my mouth, so I didn't say anything. But I want to say thank you to everybody who came out tonight to support. And that's right. I'll see you again soon. All right. Smooches, everybody. Have a good night. Yay.